Hey y'all, welcome back to the podcast. This is the second episode I have done now that is a solo episode on video. So if you're watching me over on YouTube, I'm super grateful that you're here. I am recording this podcast in the middle of June, the first week after 4th of July. And I am doing this because last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, I recorded a sales webinar. So if you don't follow me over on Instagram, you may not have seen it, but I hosted a Instagram live webinar, whatever you want to call it, on sales and confidence. And I talked about it for 2 weeks. We launched it. We had 16 people there. It was so fantastic. And there was so much feedback from that webinar that I decided to do a podcast on it because I think sales is something that I am extremely passionate about. As you guys know, my ultimate job is to help you get clear and confident to live your God-given purpose and make money and enjoy it. And one of the things you need to do to make money is you need to sell. And I'm so possessed by this because I think over the last few years, I have noticed so many people falling off, to be honest with you, falling off in just even the space that I'm in. You know, when I first started this 6 years ago, I wasn't doing the exact same thing I am right now. It's the same messaging and it's the same, like, how I help people is exactly the same, but the container in which I did it. And so if you don't even really know what that means, perhaps you're not in the online space, but the container in which I did it in the beginning was more group programs, masterminds. And now all I do is one-on-one coaching. So I help people get clear, get confident, grow, scale their business. Everything that I believe and teach on and the 3 pillars is decision, faith, and action. And I help people do that through strategy and mindset, because no matter how much money you're making, no matter where you're at in life, it is always going to be strategy and mindset. It is never going to be only mindset or only strategy, because guess what? That's not life. And that's just not the way it works. So I have noticed that so many people have fallen off from the thing that they said that they were going to do and they didn't do it. And one of the reasons is because they're not making the money in the business that they need to make in order to survive, or not get a different job, or ultimately just didn't think that it panned out the way that they did, or the way that they were working it. And one of the reasons why is because I believe they're not selling what they're doing. I think that there's very clear things that people need to do in order to make sales in their business. And today, those are the things that I'm going to be talking about. So hold tight before you turn this off. I know that there's going to be a few of you who go, this isn't for me. But I promise you, there's going to be something that you can take away from this podcast, or perhaps you can share it with a friend. I would love to know, you guys. I ask you each and every single week, and maybe now that you're looking at me and you can see the passion I have on my face right now and how much I get into this, I really, truly am, from the bottom of my soul, I do this for you. I have notes after notes after notes for today. If you saw it, if you're watching over on our Decide It's Your Turn YouTube, you can see I actually have notes for today's podcast, because I want to keep this to an hour. I want to be very concise. I want you to walk away with a ton of tangibles. That's always what I want for you guys. I know that some of the mindset stuff people really kind of resonate with. Sometimes they don't. But today is going to be very packed with some strategy, some tangibles. I want you guys, either you or someone you know, to hear this podcast and to start making sales, whether you work for someone else, whether you're in a sales position for someone else, or you own your own business. At the end of the day, we are all selling something, and people who sell can make income. And that's what I want for you guys. Like, I am so passionate about working with clients who are just like me. You know, the other day I was on a coaching call with one of my clients, and we were both crying because we're both so passionate about the work that we get to do. And the only way that we get to continue to do this work forever is if we sell our services. And if you, let's start right off the bat with a mindset thing. If you have a problem selling and you're looking at selling as sleazy, or you look at selling as a bad thing, or you don't like, you know, we all know those, like, oh, slimy car salesman. Guess what? One of my greatest friends, Ryan, I hope you listen to this podcast. Ryan up in Alberta, I think he's still up in Alberta, Canada. He's a car salesman. And guess what? He loves what he gets to do. He's a great human being. He's not sleazy at all. And guess what? He's fantastic at what he does. So I think, you know, if you're selling a big bag of shit and you're a sleazy person, like, you're just a sleazy person who's selling a big bag of shit. But if you are a person who actually cares about what you're doing and you want to serve another person, you need to know sales. You need to know how to sell. You need to have the mindset. And right now, like I said, let's just start right now. If you have a bad mindset when it comes to sales, I want you to switch this. I want you to reprogram this right now. And if you are someone who needs that reprogramming, jump on a free clarity call with me. You can book a discovery call with me at any point in time, totally complimentary. You are going to walk away from this call with one mindset or one strategy thing that's going to change everything. And then at the end of the call, if you want to talk about what it would look like to work together, perfect. But if not, I promise you, you will walk away with one strategy or one mindset shift that's really going to help you in your personal or professional life. That's what those discovery calls are for. So feel free to jump on one of those. But if you have a bad mindset, if you think sales is bad, that is the first thing you're going to need to start with, because it's really hard to do something well if you don't believe in it. I think that's one of the reasons why I'm such a fantastic coach, is because I believe in everything that I'm talking about. I believe in everything that I'm living and breathing this job because I believe in it so wholeheartedly. Like, all of the things I tell my clients are the same things that I am doing consistently all day, every day. I promise you that is the honest to God truth. I swear, I swear, I swear. Like, when I tell people that you have to get into gratitude, I do it every day. When I tell people that you have to have a strategy, I have a very clear strategy in my business. When I tell people you have to be extremely consistent, guess fucking what? I have never missed a call. Knock on wood, I have never missed a call. Oh my God, my camera just switched. If you're watching us on YouTube, we need to like fix this camera again. Obviously, you know, we've got it Jimmy rigged up here, but knock on wood on my desk. I promise you, I've never missed a call. I show up consistently. If you have seen me on social media for however many years now, I have shown up consistently every single solitary day. And that's like the first thing that I want to talk about when it comes to strategy. But I put my money where my mouth is with my clients, and I want you to do the exact same thing. I want you to win. You know, obviously over the last 6 years, I have worked with over 200 clients. We brought in well over 7 figures into this business. We make multiple 6 figures each year. And I want that for you, no matter what your goals are. You know, a lot of my clients make multi-millions, and then some of my clients are, you know, just starting out making a couple $1,000s a month. So wherever situation you're in, you need to sell. At the end of the day, selling is a big thing. So today I wanted to talk about a few of the takeaways from my sales and confidence webinar. If you weren't a part of that webinar, damn, you missed out, because I don't know if I'm going to do another paid webinar this year. I've never really been a huge proponent of those quick fix things, and I'm just not a big proponent of it, to be honest with you. I think long-term accountability is something that every single person needs. I know that it works, and that's the reason why I believe in it so wholeheartedly. That is definitely a part of my business model. Is I work with a person for an extended period of time, whether that is in my coaching subscription model, whether that be in my intensive session with you get some accountability after, or my full-time clients who get 24/7 access to me 365 days a year. I want the accountability. I want to hold someone. I want to know their patterns, where they get stuck, so I can help them move through those things, because everything is, again, going back to mindset and strategy. So let's jump into it. I want to talk about the 5 takeaways from the sales webinar that I think are going to be super helpful and important to you. Let's jump into the 5 takeaways from my sales webinar that I think everyone needs to know when it comes to sales and confidence. Okay, the number one thing that I think is the most important thing is, once you've picked a strategy, you have to be very, very consistent with that strategy. Something that I have seen over the years, and I am asking you to ask yourself this question: have you ever thrown spaghetti at the wall? Do you keep switching from one thing to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing? If that is you, I would highly recommend finding a strategy that A, you enjoy, B, you can be consistent at. I always tell my clients, you know, an example I always use is, if you told me every single day in order to stay healthy, I would have to do CrossFit, it would be extremely hard for me. I hate CrossFit. I'm not going to be super consistent at it. But if you said to me, hey, you just have to eat relatively well, work out with your trainer 3 days a week, and go for a walk every single day, that is something that I can do pretty much for the rest of my life. Like, there's nothing I can't have. You know, I can still have ice cream, I can still have a couple drinks on the weekend, but consistently, can I show up and do this 300 25 days out of the year? Absolutely. So pick something that you can be very, very consistent with. Ask yourself, if you're thinking about a strategy for your sales, first of all, what is the product or service that you sell? Know what product or service that you sell, and who is it for? Where are those people? How can you create a strategy where those people exist? What resonates in your industry? Something I always tell people is that, we all know nowadays Facebook is definitely for like the older crowd, right? So if you're selling something that's definitely marketed to an older crowd, go to Facebook. But that being said, if you fucking hate Facebook and you can't show up on Facebook, guess what? Everything works. Go sell it on TikTok, go sell it on Instagram, but whatever you can be stupidly consistent with. How do you get seen in your strategy? What strategy do you have in order to get exposure to your product or service? One of my really, really good longtime clients always says, are you casting a pole or are you casting a net? How are you getting people to see your product? So how do you get seen? What resonates in your industry? How can you be so consistent? What product and service are you selling? And do you like doing it? That is a big part of it. If you hate doing something, chances are long-term, you're not going to stick with it. I mean, that's just statistics, right? So there's so many different strategies that you can have. I would ask yourself again, like, what product or service are you selling? Are you high ticket? Are you low ticket? Is it a product? Is it a service? Are you brick and mortar? Pick a strategy that works for you. And if you don't know a strategy, if you are not very clear on your strategy, this is why you should be booking a clarity call with me, or a free complimentary clarity call with me, because I can help you figure out a quick strategy. Something that I said in the sales webinar is pick 3 things. Pick 3 things that bring sales to your business, so you can work those 3 things consistently until they bring sales. It is very simple for me to know what my strategy is. I don't need to pretend that I have this revolutionary, strategy that has brought in multiple 7 figures to my business. My strategy is very simple. If you have followed me for a long period of time, you know exactly my sales strategy. It is very clear. I could rattle it off here very quickly. I have a podcast. I show up consistently on social media. I always point people to a free discovery call. We have a website that points people to the services that we offer. I mean, it is very clear. We have an email, we have a text message. All of these strategies point people to connect with me and sell them my coaching services. That is my simple strategy that I show up to consistently week in and week out. And guess what, folks? It works, because I've been consistently on the brink of, sold out most months, with the option to bring in 1, maybe 2 clients per month. That's it. It's a strategy. It's very simple. It's very clean. What works for me may not work for you. And that's the point that I really want to point out as well, is that what is working for me may not work for you, because you have a completely different business model. I have a client who has a very low ticket, high volume business. Guess what? Her strategy is completely different. I have another client who has a brick and mortar business. We know there's 3 things that she needs to do week in and week out that bring sales into her business. She has a very clear strategy, and she works that strategy, and it works. So that is the number 1 thing I would say, is get very clear on your strategy and be very consistent in your strategy. Those 2 things alone, you can honestly almost stop this podcast. And those 2 things alone, knowing your strategy and being very, very consistent on your strategy, those things will 100% help you make more sales in your business. There's no doubt about it. The second thing that I would say, the number 2 thing here is, your messaging. I think knowing your messaging in your business is highly, highly important to your sales. Something that we always say in this industry is, people buy from people they like, know, and trust. Okay, that is true. I'm hoping that if any one of you have ever purchased a single thing from me, whether it be coming to one of my retreats, maybe you've been a client, maybe you came to my webinar, maybe you're consistently listening to this podcast, you've never paid for anything, but you're on my text message list, however you connect with me, I am hoping that you like, know, and trust me. How I have created that is by showing a lot. The strategy that I have is I show a lot on my social media. I have created a human connection with you, whether it be on this podcast, whether it be on my social media platforms. Most of you who have been a long-time listener to this podcast or have been a client of mine, you have a human connection with me. You know me in some regard. You feel like we probably know each other. You guys, it's one of the craziest things, and I'm sure you've all experienced this before, but I've had people who they act like they know me, but I definitely don't know them. But then I'm like, oh shit, yeah, they follow me on social media. But I'm not saying that I'm this big deal whatsoever. You know, it's definitely been local at the grocery store or something like that. Every once in a while, I used to get it like when I was flying, when I was a professional athlete. But all of that to be said, people know me, and I feel like I've done the exact same thing. Like I'll run into someone and I'll be like, oh my God, I totally follow them on social media. I feel like I fucking know them, and yet they don't know who I am. But all of that to be said, you feel like you like, know, and trust me in some regard. You know that you can probably trust me because I'm showing up as consistently as I possibly can. I show you a good 80% of my life. Obviously, there's a ton of bullshit on the internet, but I've been here for 6 years. I have hundreds of testimonials. You know, overall, can you trust anyone? No, I might be like some crazy psycho on the backside, but chances are you probably like me, you probably feel like you know me, and you probably feel like you can trust me. Here is the issue that I have in this mindset when it comes to the ability for someone to like, know, and trust you and buy from you. In sales, you may like me, you may know me, you may trust me, but you are not going to hire me for something that you do not think that I can help you solve. This is the reason why messaging is so important. For instance, let's use, if you're watching me on YouTube right now, you've probably seen or you're watching me, you see a horse photo behind me. So I have a lot of golf photos, I have a lot of business photos, but I have a lot of horse photos. For those of you who don't know, my husband owns racehorses. It's something that we very much enjoy. So you may like me, you may know me, and you may trust me. However, you will never hire me to train your fucking horse. Why? Because shit about that. And if you are looking for someone to train your horse, you are not going to hire me because I am not an expert in that. So this is the reason why messaging is so, so important. You have to know that that person can solve your problem. So your job as a salesperson is to, yes, have someone to like, know, and trust you. You know, in every product, they don't, you know, especially in certain low ticket items, you don't really need everyone to like, know, and trust you a ton. You just need to know that that person is going to be able to solve your problem. But especially with a high ticket thing, you are never going to hire me if you don't believe that I can solve your problem. If you don't have clarity and if you don't have confidence and you're not making sales and you're not enjoying your life, you are going to hire me because you know what I do is make you confident and clear and living in your God-given purpose to make a profit and enjoy the experience. That is what I fucking do. So if you like me, you know me, and you trust me, and you're looking for someone to help you get clear and confident so you can live your God-given purpose and make a profit doing it, you are going to hire me. So think about this for your business. Are you very clear on what you do and what problem you solve for? You know, it's so simple, but so many people don't do it. Do you tell your audience, whether you sell on social media or, you know, in person or via emails, there's so many ways to go about it, but are you telling people who your product is for? I tell you every single day on this podcast, if you're not confident, if you're not clear, if you don't like your life, if you're not feeling in alignment, if you don't feel worthy, if you don't feel like you can do the thing that's put on your soul, I am for you. This is what I do. I help you literally solve this problem. So you have to tell your people, I have this thing, I have this service. It's for you if, and then you fill in the blanks. The next thing is you tell people like, why did you create this? What problem does this solve? I do this because I literally know for a fucking fact that every single human on this planet has a God-given purpose, and it pisses me off when people are not living in their God-given purpose. And if you want to monetize it, even fucking better. So this is the problem that I solve. I help you get clear. I can help you get confident. I help you live in that. I give you the mindset and the strategy in order to monetize your God-given purpose and allow you to enjoy the experience. This is what I do. This is why I show up every single solitary day. Then I tell you all the time, are you a person who feels like this? Are you a person who feels like this? Are you a person who doesn't feel confident? Are you a person who feels like you can't do the damn thing? If so, I am for you. Are you clear on your strategy? Are you clear on your sales process? Are you like tip top on your mindset? And by the way, tip top on your mindset, that's all relative, right? We all have dumpster fire days, but are you better than most? If not, this is for you. If you're struggling with this, I am the person for you. And then, what is it that I do? I only do one-on-one coaching. I do in-person, online. I do membership, which means you can work with me for literally $558 a month. Every month for a year, you get a call with me and we help you literally achieve your goals, get clarity, get confident over the course of the year. Or you and I can be in a coaching relationship, literally where you and I do life and business together for 6 freaking months, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you and me living our best lives and making the money and being confident and clear on exactly what we do. Then I do in-person events and VIP days, but it's basically me and you becoming clear and confident so you can live in your God-given purpose and make a profit, enjoy what you're doing. That is exactly what you need to do. You need to hit all 5 of those steps or 6 of those steps, whatever I said, 6 steps, rewind that back. Are you telling people how you solve their problems? Are you telling them how you solve the problems? Are you telling people, hey, this is for you if, one thing that I think that we overlook in sales sometimes, especially if a person doesn't feel like they know that they need it, is you have to tell them, are you struggling with this thing? If you are struggling to make sales in your business, you need to work with me, because here's the reason why right now you feel like you don't know how much money you're making every month. You feel like you want to quit. You feel like you want to go back to your 9 to 5 because you don't feel like you can do the damn thing and everyone else has it figured out besides you. If you are that person, you need me. Are you telling people that? You have to tell people this in sales. It's so, 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 so important. And you have to do it consistently. I have a notes right in front of me from the sales webinar. I sent out emails to all 16 people afterwards. And I said, can you email me back with your biggest takeaway? And I chose someone to win a copy of my favorite sales book, by the way, which is Sell It Like Sirhan. It's so damn good. Ryan Sirhan from $1 Million Listing. It's such a good book. Go get it. But one of the things that the main consensus from everyone who gave me their takeaway from the webinar was the fact that they don't follow up and they're not consistent. You guys, when I am selling something, I promise you, you can follow me on social media. I put my money where my mouth is, like I told you in the beginning of this podcast. I will talk about something every single solitary day if I'm doing let's say I'm talking about it for 2 weeks, I'm launching it for 2 weeks. I will talk about it every single solitary day on my stories multiple times. I will post 2 times a day. I will get into the DMs and talk to every single person who asked the question. And I will also send posts to people that I know that they probably need it and perhaps didn't see it. I will wear people out for 2 weeks. And you know what's a crazy stat about this? And you probably, if you weren't on the webinar, you wouldn't know. 2 people bought in the last 24 hours. So if I would have quit early, and so many people quit early, I promise you this is a true statement. How many people do you know, and especially if you have an online sales presence, how many people do you know post something once, maybe twice, and then go, oh, no one wants it. I'm gonna stop wearing people out. You guys, no one sees your shit. And even if they are seeing your shit, you have to be able to see it. I think they're saying up to 22 times now. So I had to 100% in 14-day period, I had to make sure the 16 people on that thing, on the webinar, saw what I was selling up to 22 times. Some of them were my clients, there's no doubt about it. So some people who bought it were my clients who were already sold. They love working with me. They're like, fuck yeah, I'm in right off the bat. But the people who didn't know me, they had to see that up to 22 times. So are you selling your shit up to 22 times? Are you being super clear what you do, what problem you solve, who it's for? This is so unbelievably helpful. And I need you guys to understand this. Messaging means everything when you're selling something. There's no doubt about it. You also have to get very, very clear on, you know, something that I heard a long time ago. And I think that this will clearly articulate it. You know, I heard someone say, and I wish I could tell you who I heard it from, but I can't because I can't remember. I don't know if it was on a podcast or in a book or a social media post, but someone was saying they're at a dinner party. This is a perfect example of how you can clearly hit home on your messaging, how it's like night and day. The person knows exactly what you're doing and they're buying on emotion. Someone asked me one time, they're like, well, on the webinar, actually, they said, well, my product isn't mandatory, or it's not like something that's like a mandatory thing that you need, like food or something. And I was like, oh my God, people do not ever buy shit that they need. Like, ask yourself this question right now. How much shit do you buy that you actually need? Like, I could literally look at my desk right now, and besides my cup of water right here, I don't need any of this. I want it all. So don't think to yourself for a second that you like are selling something that someone needs and it's not going to sell. That's just a mindset problem you have, because people buy shit every single day that they do not need. I have like 4 things on my desk right now that are totally wants, not needs. So don't tell yourself the story that someone doesn't need what you have. People buy what they want, not what they need most of the time. But this is a very, very good example of how you can clearly articulate and hit an emotional level. So you're standing at a dinner party and 2 people walk in and there's a person at the island, let's just say. And someone says, oh, what do you do? He's like, I'm an at-home chef. Okay, cool. Awesome. You're an at-home chef. The next person walks in and the other person says, hey, what do you do? He goes, I am a person who helps busy moms feed their kids healthy meals at night so they can sit with their kids and not get stressed out. Holy fuck, where do we sign up for this, right? Like, oh my God, that's exactly what I need. That's really hitting on the heartstrings of exactly what that person needs. Like that busy mom who walked into that party is going, oh my God, this is exactly what I need. I don't want to come home and cook every single night. And I want my kids to eat more than like freaking frozen chicken fingers. I need to hire you right now. So is your messaging that at-home chef? They both do the exact same job, but one goes, oh my God, I fucking need that. The other person goes, oh yeah, that's a good job. You know what I mean? So like, does your messaging clearly articulate exactly what you do and make a person go, oh my God, I need that thing? If your messaging doesn't, that could be one of the reasons why you're not making the sales that you want. You know, I think that that's so, so important. I think you really, really have to go deep and challenge what your ideal client really wants and speak that language to them. You know, in the webinar, I talked a lot about like how to get your ideal clients language. You know, I'm very, very lucky. I've had hundreds of clients over the years. I know I get tons of DMs from you guys. I know your ideal language. It's easy for me to create a content post because I can just look at a message that any one of you have sent me and bingo, create a piece of content based off on that. And it's taking the words right out of y'all's mouth. But if you're someone who doesn't have that, I would ask people who have bought from you before. I actually had a client do this just the other day. I said, go ask the 10 people who bought from you recently exactly why that they bought from you and what problem you solved. Take that message and create content based on that. You know, why have they bought from you? Clearly articulate what you do and how you help people solve their problems. This is going to create so many more sales in your business. All right, the next one, you guys, is one of my favorite things, which is, you know, the mindset. people oftentimes, you hear me talk about the mindset all the time, and in your head, you're not making the connection. And maybe you are, maybe some of you are, because you totally get it. But for those of you who don't get it, the mindset and the money you make are so closely related. It is beyond silly. I've been doing this for so many years. I've made over 7 figures in my business. Let me tell you, mindset is fucking everything. If you are not consistently working on your mindset, you're probably not making the sales that you want in your business, or you could be making 10 times as much if you were. I will put my hand on the Bible on that, folks. If I am not consistently working on my mindset and reprogramming my mindset and having people support me in my mindset, I will not be making the money that I am making in my business, if not more. You have to be working on your mindset. I promise you. Selling is so much easier when you're confident in yourself, you're working on your mindset, and you know that you can show up and do what you need to do to bring in consistent sales on your business. Take literally anyone you want who is making good sales. Tell me that they are not consistently working on their mindset and like all of the thoughts that they have about sales. I couldn't find anyone. I promise you I couldn't. So mindset wise, are you willing to show up no matter what? If you are not making the sales in your business, I would venture to say you are A, not selling enough, B, not selling consistently, C, not willing to show up and do the thing that you need to do every single day, because there's probably some mindset thing coming in, like, people don't want to see it. What are they going to think? Why aren't I already sold out? This isn't working. People are going to know it's not working. I mean, there is some mindset bullshit that is probably happening if you are actually clear on your messaging and you're showing up consistently. If you're doing those two things, I promise you, there's got to be some mindset situation coming into play, because a person who is locked on their mindset is willing to do all the things until it works. And once you're locked on your mindset, we can then look at your strategy to see what's not working. It's so simple to go into any one of my clients and be like, okay, what is our strategy? Okay, we know that this is our strategy. Where is the breakdown happening? Are you getting a bunch of people seeing it? Okay, but they're not buying it. Okay, so if they're seeing it but not buying it, it's got to be our messaging. If we're not getting a bunch of people seeing our stuff, okay, then that's our marketing. Because once, a couple people see it, they know that, oh, this is perfect. This is exactly what I need to solve my problem. Then they're buying it. So if we're not getting the eyes on it, that's a marketing problem. Then we have to work on that, so we can easily see where the breakdown comes in someone's strategy if you are all on point. But if you're not marketing well and you're not messaging well, chances are it probably has to do something with your mindset. Like, are you willing to show up? Are you really clear on what it is that you do? Do you, where are your blocks and your fears coming in? And that's obviously something I work with my clients all the time. It's so, so, so important. People will want to buy from you. People who want to buy from you will be excited to see your stuff. Like I told you, when I sold this confidence in sales webinar, I posted every day, twice a day. I posted it on my stories every single day, like guaranteed. Even myself, like, I sold 16 spots. I think that's pretty amazing. But because, that's what we had. We had a limited amount of spots. I sold it for 2 weeks. It was a very low ticket thing. I knew exactly who I was talking to, my audience. But like, there is this little mindset shift that comes in and be like, oh, should I have not sold more? People people guarantee, like, in my head, I was like, why do people think that I'm selling a $99 product? Like, if I'm sold out in my business and, we're making, we're bringing in $400,000 a year or whatever it is, why do people think I need to sell a $99 product? You know what? I'm going to tell you the behind the story of why we were selling a $99 product. My longtime assistant for 3 years, love her to death, has taken a new position. She's no longer working for me. And we brought on a new team member. Well, guess what? We used to do webinars a long time ago. This new team member needed to know the process of us, linking our payment processor to our email system, and we needed emails and all of the stuff. And so I thought to myself, you know what, fuck, I'm going to push myself to do a webinar right now. It's going to be only 15 people. I'm going to give so much fucking value. It's what I love to do. I love to serve. It's a good time for it, so on and so forth. So that's one of the reasons why I did it. But I guarantee you, if I didn't have the confidence and the clarity in myself, I would literally probably be freaking out a little bit going, what are people going to think? I'm selling so hard for 2 weeks for something that's only going to bring in like $1,500 worth of income. Like, what are people going to think? Why aren't I already sold out? Why do people think that I need to be selling it right up until like the final moment? Just all of the things, you guys. That is mindset shit that happens to everyone. I promise you, it happens to everyone. So if I didn't have my mindset on lock, I would have probably quit if I'd only sold, 8 right off the bat or whatever we sold. So I just want you to think about that. Like, is that something that is coming up for you? This whole like YouTube talking to my own self, drinking water. I don't know how my podcast editor is going to edit this, and no one edits these videos. So you guys are just going to have to watch me sweat in my hot office because I have to shut the doors because there's the echo of the mic in my office, sweating my ass off, drinking water. I mean, we're here for it. So it is what it is, guys. I hope you actually watch this on YouTube. I know my team wants it to do clips, but going back to the mindset stuff, I remember watching a video one time that Brad Leah, if you don't follow Brad Leah and Grant Cardone, they're pretty good follows. They're definitely abrupt, not as abrupt as some people that I've had on the podcast, but Grant Cardone and Brad Leah said to Grant one time, dude, you're wearing it out. Like, you post too much shit. Like, you're all over the place. And Grant's like, perfect. You're not my ideal client. Unfollow me. I don't give a shit. You're never going to buy anything from me anyway. So I think this is a really helpful comment for you guys to remember. If you are selling something, do you want followers or do you want sales? There is a massive difference between selling something and being a fucking influencer. And what I mean by that, by selling something, a high ticket product or even a low ticket product, like, are you an influencer or are you selling something? Are you an authority? I don't really give two shits about how many followers I have. What I care about is what I care about is serving the people that are there to learn and grow and buy from me. I do not care. I have a client who literally has less than 3,000 followers who did like $600,000 last year. Let me tell you, the number of followers does not matter. You need to know, are you talking to your ideal client? Like, that has to be number one. If you're not an influencer, don't think of yourself as an influencer. It's not about the amount of followers you have. It's about selling to your ideal client. You have to make sure you are cultivating the ideal clients in your audience, or whom, in whatever capacity you're selling to. It's so, so important. Another mindset thing that I think is so important is, did you decide that you're just going to sell this? Like, have you made the decision that this is going to work? Like, no ifs, ands, or buts, burn the bridges. I am all in 150%. No matter what, whether I sell 1 or 101, I am all in. This is decided. I know that it sounds so woo-woo, but it's so true. Like, if I were on the fence before I was doing the sales webinar and I didn't fully decide that I was all in, I was going to sell it until the very last second, no matter what, whether I sold 1 or 101, it would have made the sales process so much harder. So it feels like this big thing to do, but like, make the decision in your head. It is all in. No matter what, the decision is made. I think that that's super, super helpful. One other thing that I think not a lot of people talk about when it comes to the mindset of selling, especially when you're selling a service, not a product, is a lot of people do not remember what it takes to actually be someone who is selling something. So you're in a leadership role, right? People are literally buying something from you. And if you don't trust yourself enough to show up to that, if you're not confident enough, I would highly, highly, highly recommend thinking about that one mindset shift. Because if you are having hard time selling, but you're not 100% bought in on yourself, that could be a main reason why your sales are not happening. I promise it is so important to remember that. If you don't trust yourself to show up to this, like what I do for a living, being able to hold all of the clients that I have is a massive, massive responsibility. I have to trust myself enough to show up on a daily basis. I have to trust myself enough to show up to my team. I have to trust myself enough to invest in myself. I have to trust myself enough to literally like never miss a call or pay the bills that we need to pay. Like it is such a responsibility and the mental capacity that goes into being the coach, the type of coach that I am. I have to hold a bunch of shit, good shit, bad shit, business shit, personal shit. I have to hold it all. And if I didn't trust myself and was confident enough in myself, I guarantee you I would be screwing up my sales almost like what's the word that I'm looking for? Like I would be like almost like making myself screw up in some regards. So the sales weren't happening because I kind of like down low knew that I was like the person that didn't want to show up to it. So of course my sales weren't going to happen, right? It's kind of like the flip side thing. I think that that's something really, really, really important to ask yourself is, do you trust yourself enough? Are you responsible enough to do this? Like, if not, maybe you're the person that's holding yourself back from making those sales. On the flip side, I'd like to really remind you that like, you are not your business. Like you are not your business. When it comes to the business, it's such a mind fuck because so many people believe that they are their business. So like if my sales webinar did not sell very well, then I am bad. Or if my sales webinar sold like a rock star, I am good. Well, you are worthy. Something that I believe wholeheartedly is like, you are worthy. You were born worthy. There's nothing you can do, no goal that you can attain, no monetary value you can make to increase or decrease your worth. You are worthy. So take off the association with like how you as a human are doing in your business. I also think there's a flip side to this is, I can't not work because I'm having a bad day. Every once in a while you can move your schedule around, but like I always say to my clients, like think of yourself as Target. Does Target have a headache and not fucking open? No. Does Target like negotiate what they're going to sell something for? No. You are Target. Show up like Target. So like if you're having a bad day, sorry, you're still a fucking business. Show up and sell. That's your job. If you're not confident and bought in on yourself, you are probably going to negotiate on your prices way too often. There is not one time where I will negotiate on my prices. Now, I will always be open to, payment plans and all of the things. There's always a way to yes. This is something that I believe. There's always a way to yes. If you want to work with me, there is a way to yes. I will figure it out for you. But at the end of the day, if I ever negotiated on my prices, you would not believe that I believe that product or service is worth what I say it is worth, the value that it can provide. Am I compressing time? Am I getting you to where you want to go faster? Am I clearly articulating how this service gets you to where you want to be faster? And do I believe that the price and the energy and the value that I can bring for this price point is what you need? If the answer is for me, absolutely 100%. If I ever negotiated on that, chances are you wouldn't even believe in what I do. So that's the reason why I never negotiate on my prices. And I would strongly suggest you think about that as well. The number one thing I would say as well is like, how are you having fun in what you do? You have to enjoy what you do in some regard. It makes this so much easier. When I don't have pressure on the sale, when I come back to like, what is my why? Why am I doing this? Because I love what I fucking get to do. And I think it's such a gift that I get to get paid to serve human beings. Whether I make $1 or $1 million, holy fuck, how lucky am I? And I want you to think that as well in your business. I promise. It matters more than anything. Like I have clients that are making a lot of money And if they're not enjoying the process and they're not enjoying the experience, we really kind of look at everything that's going on, because yes, we all need money. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I love money. I love what it gives me. But at the end of the day, I am never going to do anything that doesn't make my life better. And that's what I want for you. I want you to love what you do. I want you to make good money. I want you to serve the people that you're going to serve. And I want you to sell the shit out of it. But I don't want you to be miserable every single day. It's such a big part of why my clients work with me. And if that's something that you want to do too, I mean, I would love to get to talk to you about it, because that's just, it has to be a priority to me, you know? And the last thing that I'm going to say here was sales. If you're in the beginning of the sales process, I would just say, get so clear on what you do, who you're serving. Be consistent as a mother. Like, be as consistent as you possibly can, and remember your why. It's so important to remember your why. You know, if you're feeling stuck, stop, go for a walk, get clear, come back to why you're doing it, and that will attract the perfect people to you. If you have a great strategy, you work it, it will always work. You guys, I'm just so grateful that you listen to this podcast. I'm grateful that we're now doing this on video. If there's anything that I can ever do for you, and I hope you're watching this on video so you can see my face. I love that I get to do this with you. I love so much that I get to do these podcasts each and every single week. If there's any topic you want me to talk about, please let me know. If you're interested in one of my free complimentary discovery calls where you're going to walk away with one strategy or mindset tip that is going to change everything, please book one of those calls with me. I'm honored that I get to do this. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. If you know anyone who wants to lean into sales a little bit more, please share this with them. They don't have to have an online business. I hope if you are not in sales right now, which everyone sells something, but if you're not in sales, I thank you for sharing this with someone who enjoys it. Thank you for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my soul. I love that I get to do this work, and it makes me so unbelievably happy every single day. Thank you guys. Don't ever forget, you have the power to decide it is your turn.